So, the philosopher Arthur Schopenhauer, he had this idea that the whole world, everything that we see, is a manifestation or a kind of outworking of what he would call the will to life. And each individual feels this, all those feelings inside of us. We have a more direct connection to them than the world of sensory experience, in part because our sensory experiences are mere appearances. They can distort the reality behind it, as it were. Whereas when we feel something, we know it immediately. And one of the most basic emotions is desire. Fundamentally, the desire to live, the desire for life. This emotion drives a lot of behavior. It drives a lot of what we do. And when you put people into situations where their lives are threatened, it's amazing to see how they're able to overcome those situations, how that drive really pushes them. For Schopenhauer, this isn't limited to individuals. In a way, a species as a whole, or a group, a tribe, a community has that too. You see this in the animal kingdom all the time. I think of, for example, the ant colony, where each ant doesn't really live for itself, but rather for the propagation of the colony. They go and get food and bring it back to the nest so that the queen can have more eggs, which will hatch. Then they feed the little larvae, which will then go on to replace them to build more of a colony. Think of also amphibians. There's certain types of frog where if there are too many of one sex, so if, let's say, all of them are female, some of them will transform into males. Now, of course, this is good for the individual because it propagates their genes, but the frogs aren't consciously making this decision for their own well-being. This is just something that happens, and it suggests that there is something beyond any one of those frogs involved that's directing the preservation of the frogs. And that's what's transforming them. Now, we could say that this is a hyperagent. That's how some people talk. Certainly, like an ant colony, it's almost, another word, it might be a superorganism. It has life of its own that all of these beings are a part in. They are in distinct creatures, but they participate in an organism beyond themselves, a living reality. For Schopenhauer, that thing is the will to life. And when you see it so clearly in the natural world, it makes you wonder, to what extent does that will to life govern human interactions? And is it on a tribal level, family level, community level, national level, or even universal level? That is something that I'm curious about. Let me know what you think.